Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and this is the Breaking Free Show, of course. And I am so happy to have you here with us today. It's going to be fun. It's always fun to be together, isn't it? I look forward to it each and every week. And even though I don't see you, I feel you, believe me. And I love being with you. So thank you for being here. And remember, always during the show, you are welcome to call in anytime you like at 919-518-9773, or you can come in on Skype. That's computers two, number two, K voice. And that is Skype voice, not video. So don't worry about it. And we also have a chat room that you are welcome to join in and ask questions and comment and whatever you like. Just talk to us. We'd love to have you. This is your show. This is our show together, and we do it together. But before we get on with our show, and before I introduce my guest to you, I want to say hi to Amnon, which I love
Hello,
to do
Marilyn.
each and every week.
Hello, Marilyn.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. What's going on?
Nothing. Everything is
Everything's all right.
getting back to normal
Everything
after the
well,
storm.
for us
Everything is
maybe,
fine.
but not for some of our
I know. I
buddies
know.
down at the
I know.
beach and
Well, you
and other
asked me.
places. Yeah, I did. I did. I know. You know something, I have to say that, last week for a lot of us were crazy, even though inland for us in Raleigh, we were not affected by the hurricane much, but I have to tell you, emotionally, I could feel it, and a lot of the people I knew were walking around just feeling this feeling of, we feel so badly for our friends and family, down in the beaches and some other areas in North Carolina that we just send our love. And what I have to say this before we get started, I'm just impressed with people in general. And I really want to go on the record because what I heard people do from all over the country coming in here with their planes, flying in here, picking up, all kinds of stuff, flying it into these areas that there's no road, no highway, just a bunch of water. I love people for what we can do. And that is to me one of the most special things that you can see. And unfortunately, a lot of times it comes at a time of disaster, but it also comes at times of extraordinary opportunities. And I just love how people can band together. That's all I got to say. And we have it in us to do this all the time. Sometimes I think we just need a reason and a good kick in the you know where. But I want to just thank everyone who has been doing whatever it is, bringing a thing of dog food, to the airport or to the fairgrounds, to flying in a plane, to driving their cars, to help people. Just thank you very much. And I heard it on the news the other day. I don't know if you saw it or not, but there's a guy, I think from Indiana, from this national organization about animals, and they went to this whole place. I can't even remember where it was, and they helped cows, they helped horses, they helped dogs, chickens, all kinds of animals. And it was breathtaking to see the care that people have. So I just want to say that. Okay, enough of that. Now we're going to get on with our show. And Adriana is here from Brazil. How you doing?
Hi, hello, Marilyn. I'm doing fine. Hello from Brazil for everybody.
Good. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you. It's nice to be with you. Thank you for inviting me.
It's my pleasure. So tell everyone a little bit about you and then listen up, everyone. We're going to get into some really great conversations with her today. So you're not going to hear everything she does in just like one line. You're going to have to experience it. So tell everybody who you are.
Well, I'm from Brazil. I'm from South Brazil, and I've been a lawyer for almost 28 years now. And I decided some years ago to become a writer. So I'm a writer and a lawyer, and I'm always trying to have fun in both worlds. A little bit complicated, but it's who I am. I love to write. I've always loved to write. I'm a voracious reader. And I believe all voracious readers want to be a writer one day. So I'm living my dream. I'm having my books published. I'm receiving some awards for my novels, and I'm very thrilled about that. So I'm very happy about the life I'm leading now because I've fought a lot to have it, and I believe I have to fight a lot more to be where I want to be. But it's been very good to take the right decisions on the right moment.
Okay, so I want to ask you about this fighting thing, but before you do that, I just want to make a comment that based on what you said as far as being a ferocious reader, I read the other day about Warren Buffett that he reads 50% of his time, of his life, 50% of his life he's reading. That's how important reading is. And it's, whether
Yeah.
you're listening, you're reading, and all kinds of books, not just business books or fairy tales or fantasy or romance novels, but read as many different things as you can read. And the more I read about intelligent, wise people, the more I see how much reading they are doing. So thank you for bringing that up. So explain to me what you mean by fighting.
Fighting. Well, I'm a woman, and when I started college at the Law University in Brazil, I was barely 17. I was one of the first women. 20% of the students were women on that time, law students. So I have to fight a lot. I graduated from law school. I was 21. I was very, very young, and I started to work for Brazilian government, a very male environment. I had to fight a lot for my position, to be respected. Everybody thought I was just a little girl, just too young, and just a woman. And I have to fight to show people I had value. I was precautious, of course, for graduating with my age, but I was very responsible and I could take care of the matters the government gave me, and it was a fight. It was a fight, but I could find my place among much more older lawyers. And then when I was 25, I got a very high position as director of a multinational company in Argentina. So it's been for me all about fighting for my place under the sun.
So you write legal books and you write sensual novels, right? I just want to throw that in for right,
Yes,
right. Go ahead.
yes, right. My first book was a legal book about international contracts. I've been to Colombia to research. I've been to Sorbonne in France to research. I've been to Hague Library. It was the product of 2 years of deep research about international contracts, and that was my first book. But on reality, it was not the first one. When I was 10 years old, I wrote my first novel. As a kid, a little romance, but I destroyed it because I didn't want people to read what I was writing. I was ashamed on that time. But nowadays, I have a whole trilogy published, and my book is also translated to Portuguese. It's being sold in Portugal and now in Brazil, the first one. The trilogy is all in English and being sold in the United States, Canada, all around the world.
So we're going to get into your take on this. So it's very interesting on talking to Adriana about her character. So I just want to hold on just for a second and get into a little bit more of some of just the struggle, so we can get past that, so you can see why these books are so interesting, because they're kind of different. So hold on just a second, and this is for men and women too. So men don't go anywhere and women don't leave either. So what is the climate like now in Brazil for women?
Oh, the climate is changing. Springtime started on 21. We are starting to have some flowers
Oh.
after a winter. The winter is not like the United States.
Okay, so so this is going to be fun today, you and I, because we're going to be because when I meant by climate, I didn't really mean the temperature. I meant like how is it going now for women in Brazil? Like, what's it like now?
Oh, nowadays it's much easier. For example, I've been a professor for many years in law school, and nowadays the majority of women attending law school, the women are the majority. There are much more women in law school than men. So it's completely different. It's changing. Of course, women are still struggling for their positions, for better salaries, for equality, but it's much better than when I was younger. And I believe now it's easier for women to say, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a judge, I want to be a doctor in Brazil. Things changed a lot on those 28 years after I graduated.
I was just curious because, certainly we all face some of that. I mean, a lot of that here as well, where equality isn't always equality and women aren't making as much as men in some cases and vice versa. So I'm really curious as what it's like in Brazil as far as that is concerned. So about your books, because you write sensual novels, and here's a woman who's an attorney. Okay. She's a law professor. She's writing law books and she's attorney and she's writing sensual novels. So let's talk about that for a bit. So your sensual novels, let's talk about the kinds of character development that you do, because that's what's so fascinating.
Well, I write psychological and erotic thrillers. The erotic part is just 10% of the novels, but there is erotica, of course. And in the beginning, I didn't want to make this my professional career in Brazil. That's the reason I decided to publish in the United States. And just now, after receiving many awards abroad, I'm bringing and translating the first one to Portuguese. I tried on those novels to show women the way I see women must be.
Wait,
The
wait.
characters,
Say that one more time. I missed that. Say that last piece again.
I try to show the women in my books as I would like to see women to be, as I think women should be. Independent, having careers, knowing what they want of their lives. I don't like dependable women. I don't like those heroines. There are always waiting for the charming prince to arrive, someone to rescue them. So women in my novels are all independent. They all have careers, they have success, they have the right to choose their lives, to have kids, not have kids, to marry, to be divorced, to be single. It's all about strong women. Despite of the dramas and traumas they have in their lives, they are always going to overcome it. They are always going to find a way out, and they are always going to be free and independent.
And men. You see, so the men in your
Man,
book, go ahead. Yeah. Oh, she can't wait.
uh, I believe I was a lucky, very lucky person. I have this wonderful father. My father he's a gentleman. He's a poet. He taught me the love for books. He was always kind and gentle. I have a sister. He was always romantic to my mother. I believe the men in my book are a little bit like my father, men with feelings. Of course, they are trying to succeed in their own careers, but they also can show feelings. They can show love. They can show concern. They are not those kind of heroes. They are untouchable, all as the little princess trying to seduce them. No, they are real men. Real men you can find, like my friends, lawyers like I know, like my students. They are real. They are touchable. I hate books with untouchable characters. I think all my characters are people you could have a beer with them, have a dinner, have a conversation because you can relate to them. Except for the nutties, they are consulting, they are being treated by the psychiatrist. Those have some flaws, but even them, they are regular people in some ways.
And why do you choose erotica?
Oh, sex is good. Everybody loves sex. And I didn't choose erotica. I just want to write a novel. So I start to write, and I have attention deficit. And during my whole life, I've been to shrink, trying to understand myself. Until the day I got diagnostic with attention deficit and hyperactivity, I could understand myself. So I wanted to write about a psychiatrist, someone who can understand the human soul. So I started to research, to compose the character, and I wanted to know what the psychiatrist would be specialized in. So I thought she could be specialized in paraphilia, strange sexual behavior. It's something everybody likes to talk about. It's sex. You go to a psychiatrist and sometimes you talk about sex. You try to understand. There are people that have different preferences in the subject. So we decided she was going to be a psychiatrist, a very successful one, a professor, and she would treat paraphilias. So that's how sex entered into the story. Sex in my novels uh, comes from the patient, the psychiatrist treats, the psychiatrist receives in her practice in daily basis, and that's where the erotica comes from. That's the reason I say it's not an erotica novel. It has touch of erotica because you are going to learn about erotica from the patient.
So each of your books has a character that is the attorney, is some professional, right? So is that in most of your books? Is that what I understand?
It's Hidden Motives.
Okay.
It's the name of my trilogy. It's about the psychiatrist. All three books are about the psychiatrist's life and how her life changes after she met a lawyer.
Okay.
The lawyer comes to her for help because he needs to defend.
Whoop. That's a good part. We want to know more about the erotica. I'm sure she's going to come back because it's very interesting when you speak with Adriana to hear about, how she developed these characters and how she has developed these characters based on herself and vice versa. Because she's a free spirit. She has been married, I think, 3 or 4 times. She travels all over the place. She is totally open with who she is and what she does. She loves to drink wine. She loves to live. And the interesting thing about these books is the honesty. It's the honesty of the parts within us that we don't tend to tell even ourselves. They're there, but we don't always tell them to ourselves as being a truth. And for myself included, I've been reading lots of books lately where, it doesn't, I don't like what's happening in some cases or between certain relationships. But the interesting thing is, it's the truth. It's how I have felt. It is what I have noticed. It is sometimes those dark spots or those not so light spots within myself that
Hola, Mary.
okay, you're here? That I've
Hi, I'm
recognized.
here. Can you see
Yes.
me?
Yes. Hey there.
I had to change computers because a huge storm is coming and all my connections are gone. So now we are in my phone.
Okay. All right. So you're back now. That's good.
Yeah, I'm just going to connect the earplugs.
Okay, go ahead. I was just chatting with our audience a bit. So take this moment to feel free to call in 919-518-9773 or computers, that's plural, the number 2K voice on Skype. We'd love to have you anytime. And you can also partake in our chat if you have a question or anything you'd like to comment about. Please feel free to do that. And as soon as Adriana is ready, we'll continue our conversation. But I do find you there. You ready? No.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
ready. I'm back.
All right, good. So one of the things that I was saying, and I want you to pick up with where you left off. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I
Okay.
can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Well, one of the things that I was saying is, a lot of times when we read books that have an uncanny way of writing truth, even though it may not be explained in the same way that we would normally accept it. It can be done in a dark way. It can be done at, erotica, which may not be something that, we're used to, or between friends. But a lot of times we read these books and the truth is so real and apparent, even though it's not the truth we normally accept as our truth. You can see it as your truth once you read it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. In the case of my novels, I've researched a lot in American universities, American Association of Psychiatrists. I've read a lot about sexual behavior. So whenever I try to compose a character, I'm going to bring that the most reality I can. So that's the reason we can say, hey, that can happen because it can. All my work is based on research. I'm a lawyer. I'm used to research, to compose my defense, to defend my clients. So, of course, when I go to write novels instead of defending my client, I have the same basis. I always research a lot. That's the reason you can think yes, that can happen. You can relate. There are lots of inspiration in my legal career, not in the erotica, but in the other parts of the book from my clients. Being having clients, different kind of clients for 28 years. Of course, I bring all that for the book.
So let me ask you some of the themes that you have researched. What are they?
Some of this, sorry?
Yeah, what are some of the themes that have come out from your research? Does that make sense?
Sorry.
Okay.
No, because it just cut some words.
Okay. So what have you researched? You said you've done a lot of research into psychiatry. What are some of the things that you have noticed that you have written about?
I tried to figure out what were the most common paraphilias.
Most common what? Wait. Most common what?
Paraphilias. Paraphilias are those strange sexual behaviors.
Okay.
So I tried to gather which behaviors were more common, which behaviors people practice more, even if they are strange for some of us. And I wrote about that. And I was very, very surprised about some behaviors I've never thought they could exist.
Like what?
And they are common.
Like what?
Like, for example, one of the hugest fantasy I've researched about was about men wanting their wives to have other men. To be betrayed by their own women, and it has deep roots in their childhood when they had siblings of the same gender, and they are used to compete for their mother.
So they compete for their mother. When they grow up, the trauma is so big. They are always trying to compete for their wives and girlfriends, and so they want to see the girlfriends with other men. They want to know she betrayed them. It's a kind of masochism acquired in childhood because of this dispute of the siblings dispute for mother's love. I was very surprised about that. And one of my characters, he suffers of that kind of paraphilia. I've never imagined someone could have a kind of fantasy like that because main of all in Brazil, men are very macho men. It's all about monogamic relations and betrayal is not a well accepted behavior. I believe in the United States it's just the same. And there are tons of people that behave like that. It's
It's so
amazing.
interesting because I'm writing a series of books, and my series is called In Just One Afternoon, listening into the hearts of whatever the subject is that the book is going to be about. So my first one was men, the second one is twins, next is millennials. But I have been asked by a friend to do one about couples that like swinging couples that
Yes.
right, that have multiple partners, and or one couple and another couple do switching, and I am so curious about people in general because we don't understand the motivation of behind what somebody does, and then we can make it wrong. Go ahead, what were you going to say?
Yes, about swing couples, that is a little bit different than the other paraphilia. There are many different opinions of the psychiatrists about it. Some are old couples that have no more desire for each other. They try to bring excitement to their lives, exchanging couples in a way of not cheating. It's for some old couples. Uh, for other people very young, they just want to have fun with a lot of people, no attachments. They don't want to be emotionally attached, but they want to have a variety of sex partners. So they go to swing houses, nobody knows anybody, and they have sex with the more a lot of different partners. It's just about fantasy or of being with many people. In other cases, the swings happen because of that fantasy I told you. One of the people of of a couple want to see the other cheating, and as it's consented cheating, it seems not to be so heavy as a betrayal, as a treason. So there are very different kinds of interpretation for couples doing swing and multiple sexual partners. I found everything in psychiatrists' stats about that. Some psychiatrists say it's a kind of masochism and sadism. The one who is cheating with consentment, no, he's provoking pain. The one who consents with the cheating is suffering the pain. But there are many, many, many different reasons in
Right.
that subject.
It's interesting. So you can't tell a book by its cover. Does that make sense? Have you heard that before, Adriana? You cannot tell a book by its cover, right?
No, you can't. And sometimes the most normal people that you judge normal because what is normal, it seems normal. A person that seems very normal has this deep fantasies, has a completely different life for his professional life. Sometimes they can be judges, accountants, mathematicians, very serious people, and they have these deep fantasies they need to fulfill, fantasies of being spanked, of being tied to ropes. Uh, I've bought a complete dictionary of unusual sexual practices. It's like the Bible. It's huge like this. And you can find things you never imagined. So I try to research the most common fantasies because there are things you can describe. There are footish, what they call footish,
Yes.
someone who just can get excited by feet. It's very strange, or by shoes. There are many, many different fantasies that we can imagine.
So
It's very hard to imagine.
so it is because, if I don't have it, I mean, it's kind of it would be odd, but I think it's very interesting to uh, to put these into a book and to see all that's going on and all the possibilities and the truth behind the fact that there are people who like shoes. There are people who get turned on by things that you wouldn't even think about, but you could know if you open up Adriana's books, you're going to understand that whatever's in there is researched and is real. It may not be your reality, but it's somebody else's. So let me ask you another question. How much of your books, I mean, what is it about your books that you live?
Well, everybody asks me that. Um, Main of all because there is erotica and there is a main character. She's beautiful. She's an architect and she practices a lot of swing and she exchanged couples and she's always changing men in her life. Everybody asks me, "Are you Lara?" And I always ask them, I never kill anybody. There is a serial killer in my books, and nobody asked me, have you ever killed? So I believe in every character there is a touch of Adriana. Some phrases I use, some situations that I've seen during my whole life. It's impossible to separate your books from you, but most of all, it's pure imagination. You have to remember I have attention deficit. That's it's a huge lack of attention, but it also provides an incredible imagination. And whenever I write, I'm really in another world. I can live that world. I can live the feelings of my characters, their troubles, their sorrow, their pain, their pleasure. So, of course, when I'm writing, I'm inside my character. I'm living their life. So there is a lot of me. If I ever practice swing, no, it's not for me. It's not for me. I don't have that kind of fantasy. It's a little bit too much. Yes, I've been to a swing house once because I needed to see the whole environment for my book. And I asked to my husband to go with me. I told him, let's go. And he told me, okay, but let's wait to do that abroad. So once we were on in vacation and we were in a foreign country, I'm not going to mention.
Uh, Wait, Adriana, you're breaking up. Can you hear me? You're
We
break,
went. It was
Adriana.
good to feel the environment, to see all those different people I told you, uh, old couples, young people, people who met each other on that moment and they were not concerned if it was going the last time they are crossing paths.
So, Adriana, let me ask you something.
It's a little bit savage.
So you're breaking up a little bit. So some of what you're saying, we're missing. But one of the things I'd like to ask you is, what have you learned from your own books?
Never judge anybody.
Gotcha.
And I try to convey that idea in my books, but it comes also from law, from practicing law. I've learned during my whole life. You always have to consider two sides, two opinions.
So you've been married 3 times or 4 times? She's frozen. I think oh,
As
wait. Have you been married 3 times or 4 times?
Sorry?
Have you been married 3 times or 4 times?
4 times. I'm in my first marriage.
Okay. Well, I love you. I think because one of my books that I'm doing, and maybe we can talk about this, is I'm writing a book about divorcees and, in just one afternoon listening to the hearts of divorcees. And, I
Wow.
interviewed a woman who'd been married 6 times, divorced 5. And I could place a lot of judgment, just like Can't Tell a Book by Its Cover, on this woman who's been married, 6 times. But after listening into her story, after listening into her heart and her core, I realized all she wanted was to be in love. She wanted to get it right. And there were times, 5 of them to be exact, that she didn't have it right. That with each relationship, she got to learn more and more and more and more, which prepared her for her 6th, which hopefully will be her last. So we learn from all of our experiences, and I love your openness. I love the fact that you are open with whom you are. It just makes your books even more interesting. The fact that you're an attorney, that you've been married 4 times, how open you are about erotica and these characters and psychology, psychiatry. I think it's a wonderful combination.
Thank you. Uh, Divorce are tough. We can talk about that one day for your book, no problem.
Yeah.
I believe nobody wants to divorce. Nobody marries to divorce. Because whenever you decide to marry someone, you build a castle. You are really in search of love. And sometimes love is just not there. And I've lost a wonderful friend when I was 17 that marked my life forever. And she taught me one thing: you never know when you are going to die. It's the only uncertainty we have. We don't know when it's our hour to depart this world. You can't make deals with unhappiness. And that's what I felt when I was in my first marriages. I was building rings and alliances to happiness. I couldn't do that to my partner, and I could that to myself. I had to pursue happiness. Of course, happiness is not an idea of being happy all the time, but at least in a moment of the day, you must be happy. You must find happiness. And that's what I thought. And I tried everything to not divorce from all my husbands. I tried my best to not divorce, but it came to a moment where I thought I have to choose my happiness, myself, to continue to be myself or to change for another person. And it won't last forever if you change for somebody. Or I'm going to start to be unhappy, and that is going to decide the rest of my life, and I don't know.
So I just want to remind everyone, Adriana is contacting us from Brazil. They're having a big rainstorm. She already got off one of her computers into another room. So stay with us, bear with it, listen hard, listen good. If you hear something that you don't know what you just heard and I haven't clarified it, give me a call, send me a message in our chat. I'll be glad to have her repeat it. Stay with us because, it's the internet. Things happen. So 919-518-9773 or computers, then the number 2, K Voice on Skype. And we have our chat open. Please join us there if you have any questions. So I want to move on to the fact that you're now publishing in Brazil. So just to remind everyone, for a very long time, and Adriana has won all kinds of awards for her novels. She's been publishing in the United States because she's an attorney in Brazil. Why the change? Why are you now able to be you in Brazil?
In the beginning, I didn't want to mix with my clients. The books have erotica, contain erotica, and I didn't know how my clients would see me after that. Do you remember? It's a male world. I'm a woman. I have to be very, very professional with my clients in order to keep a professional. Every one of my clients should read the book and judge me differently. But there is internet and social media, and nobody can hide anymore. So I couldn't. And my clients start to read my book, to learn about my book. They start to read. They start to congratulate me, and things never change. And besides that, I've been receiving some awards in the United States, Canada, and that gave me courage to bring the book to Brazil. I thought if people are liking abroad, Brazilians are going to like, and Brazilians are not going to judge me for the kind of books I've wrote. And I've released it in August. The first one translated to Portuguese.
So what's your words of wisdom, advice to other people who want to do something? Maybe not write erotica, but they want to do something and they're caught in a position similar to you were. What would you suggest to them now?
I suggest you find a way to do a slow transition.
Wait,
I
say that.
always
Wait.
wanted to
Say
be
that
a
again.
writer, but
Adriana, say that one more time. It wasn't clear. You would say what to them?
I always wanted to be a writer, but what paid the bills is law. It's being an attorney, being a lawyer. So I needed to keep both situations. And I decided to do a slow transition. I decided to keep practicing law, to publish my novels abroad, to test waters, and slowly going from being a lawyer to be a writer. If you want to have a change in our life, I'm a middle life person. I'm going to be 50 in December. It's a moment we want some change in our lives. The best way to do it is in a less traumatic way. So don't do it cutting all the ties you have with your current life. Don't do that changing completely. Do it slowly. Slowly is better because you're not going to be desperate. If you change professions, the new profession is not going to pay as much as the old one used to do. So do it slowly in order to provide for your new profession with the oldest one, and but never give up in changing. If
Okay.
it's your dream, you have to pursue your dream.
So,
It was mine. I had to do that.
so would you suggest to someone to do as you did? Or would you say just go for it?
No, no. Do like I did it. It worked for me. For some
Okay.
people, it can work. But talking about writers, I've met many writers during the years, and some of them just cut their whole life, and they are the money is over before they can have success. They get desperate, so they try to push themselves too hard because of that. And if they keep the regular profession, start to write, uh, the feeling is softer.
Mhm.
You are not going to suffer that much. That's the reason I'm still a lawyer. I still practice law. I can pay the bills. I can promote my books in a way I could not do if I have gone directly from lawyer to
Right.
writer.
So I think part of this message is do what you want to do. Find the way to do it, just like Adriana did by publishing in the United States. Do it, find your way, but do it anyway. So here's a question for you from our chat. Here's a question. What has been your favorite book so far to write?
I believe the third one, The Brilliant Game, this one here. It was the one who finishes the trilogy, but it happened in a very emotional moment of my life. I was being through a lot, and The Brilliant Game was the way to understand my feelings, to melt in the paper what I was feeling, and the hard times I was being through. So I believe it was the best book because I could really tell my soul melted on the paper.
Wow. Wow, that's a good commercial for that book.
you have you have to read the whole trilogy to understand.
So was there something going on then?
It's how I felt.
So what is it, something you can share with us that was going on then that we will see in a taste of what was going on that we'll see in the book for you back then?
For my family, were having family issues, uh, and I was having issues with one of my siblings. He was in a complicated moment of his life. I had to help the whole family professionally, legally. And the worst thing is to be the lawyer of your family because a doctor never treats his family because you are emotionally involved.
Mm.
So it was very hard to me to be in a position of being a lawyer and be emotionally involved.
I hear you. It is very, it's interesting. And for myself, I'm a business life coach and all of that. But, when my children ask me questions, which I love when they do, I have to be careful that it comes out as a mom, not as a coach, because they can hear it better as a mom than they can as Marilyn, the coach. So I'm really careful with how I give my advice, but I do understand what you're saying. So so are you now involved in doing another project, another book?
Yes, I'm writing my first book, but it's not the same trilogy. It's completely different. I'm researching a lot because it starts between World War One and Two.
Mm.
So it has a lot of conflict. It starts in France. It migrates to United States after a while. So I'm researching a lot about uh, the war, after war, those two countries. It's been very complicated. I will have to travel to France to finish it, and then to United States. So it's going to be a book for next year. It's given me a lot of pleasure because I'm listening a lot of people who have lived during this period, a very complicated one in our story. And I'm writing a love story among all the chaos that was there, but a love story in Adriana Gavazzoni's style. Some erotica, some deceptions and deceiving, and some killings, a lot of mystery, thriller. It's all a mix of gems.
Hmm. Sounds good. It
I hope
sounds
so. I
good.
hope it ends good.
It sounds good. It sounds good to me. So, what kinds of comments do you get from people who have read your books?
Oh, I'm very happy about the comments. People are enjoying a lot. Some people recognize themselves. They send me mails because I put the email on the inside the book, so people get in touch, and I love to answer. They always tell me, "Oh, your book is great. It helped me to understand myself. I love your book." Uh, Once a person told me, "I hate your book. You are a pervert."
I
Okay.
guess we get all of those, don't
Not a,
we? Yeah. So do you
yeah,
have,
we
so tell
receive all.
everybody, Adriana, tell everybody the name of your book again and where they can find it.
The trilogy is called Hidden Motives. The first book is called Behind the Door. The second is called Lara's Journal. And the third one is The Brilliant Game. The first one is this one with the red door because it's behind this door you're going to find the most incredible thing. And
Okay. You know, I love the internet, but
uh,
sometimes it
they
just can be.
are all I'm available on the whole internet.
Okay, we just missed what you
Also,
said.
you, Marilyn.
Yeah, we just missed what you said, honey.
Hi.
Say it again about the second book. You,
The second book is called Lara's Journal,
okay.
and the third one is The Brilliant Game. They are all available on internet, also on paperback. You can buy it on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. It's everywhere.
Are they
It's
audio too?
no, not
Okay.
yet. I'm planning, but not yet.
Mm.
And there is in English the whole trilogy, but also in Portuguese for those who read Portuguese, being sold in Europe and all
Mm.
the world, I believe.
Mm. I think I would love to see them in a audiobook. I think that would be really, really cool.
Yes,
Yes, definitely. Are you self-published or do you have a publisher?
I tried both ways. I first had a publisher, and the publisher, I had some troubles with the first publisher. They closed their doors, and I had to start all again. And I didn't want to start the process of searching for a new publisher, so I decided to go self-published.
Ah.
In Brazil, I have a regular publisher. I was good until now, but for the rest, I decided to go self-publish after a while.
So you're doing all your own marketing and all that stuff?
I have people to help me.
Okay.
I hire people around the world that can help me with marketing because it's very tough to do everything and still be an active lawyer.
Yes.
So I have some great people that help me, but I do a lot of stuff by my own too.
Mm.
It's hard to be self-published, but at least you have the control of everything, every part of the process. I have from the first publisher, I hired the editor. So it's the same editor from the beginning. She's wonderful. She practiced my English. We understand each other very well. So I can guarantee the quality of my books. That's very important to me. And we are together since the beginning. But now self-published.
So it's interesting that you would say, as an attorney, that it's better to be self-published for control as opposed to allowing yourself to create contracts between people.
Uh, yes, because you decide the contract all the time when you create,
Wait, no,
you
wait.
decide the rules.
I'm okay. I
Uh,
just missed that. Say that again. Say that. Yeah.
Whenever you create a contract, you can dictate the rules a little bit at least. Of course, a good contract is always win-win. But when you have the pen in your hand, you can always try to give your character to the contract. It's the same for being a lawyer and being self-published.
Mhm. Yeah, I love for anybody out there that is looking to publish a book. I love self-publishing. Not to say that it's not wonderful to have a publisher, to have an agent, to have help, but I think it's wonderful to self-publish. You keep the control of your book. There's no guarantees when a publisher does it, and you hire people that do marketing. And if they have an inkling for understanding the publishing world, or what you're doing, it really makes it a lot easier to get things accomplished. I love self-publishing. I'm glad to hear a woman like you that has so many awards. So one question is, did you get those awards? Did you win those awards when you self-published or when you had a publisher?
When I self-published.
Wow.
Yes, it was all by my own. I won the first uh, award. I was not expecting for that. I'm a foreigner publishing in the United States, and I received the first award. It was Reader's Choice. I was very surprised, but it gave me the courage to pursue more awards. So I decided to book in other contests, and the badges start to come. And I've been to the United States twice already to receive badges and honorable mention. I was honorable mention in Reader's Favorite. There is a big contest. I received a bronze medal on Independent Publisher Award in New York.
Wow.
It's another big contest. I was golden medal in Book Excellence
And
Award in
Adriana,
Canada.
and that is impressive to be able to accomplish all that and be self-published at the same time. That's truly impressive. But hold on one second. Amnon, could you just show? I just want to let everybody know. I was supposed to have my recent book launch on September 13th, but because of our hurricane, I had to postpone it till October 11th. It'll be at the American Institute of Health and Fitness ground floor conference center from 6 to 9. We have all the same twins who we're going to have flying people in, and it'll be a phenomenal experience. We're going to be talking about being individuals as well as in a unit, because obviously twins do that well. We're going to be talking about conflict because twins do that real well too. So we'll have snacks. We'll have a whole bunch of people, for you all to come out and meet with. Please go to Eventbrite and RSVP. We'd love to have you. If you have any questions, please contact me at MarilynShannon.com. And my book is on Amazon as well. In just one afternoon, listening to the hearts of twins, and then in one afternoon, listening to the hearts of men. And my next one will be about millennials. So, Adriana, you are an amazing woman, and you've had a tremendous accomplishment. And I am just delighted that
Thank you, Marilyn.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm delighted that we've had this opportunity for you to come here today. And I would highly recommend all of you to reach out, check out her books, follow her on Twitter, follow her on Facebook, follow her on Instagram. Tell them where they can find you on those social media sites.
Oh, I'm on Facebook, Adriana Gavazzoni. You'll find me quickly. I'm on Twitter, @Gavazzoni, at @A_Gavazzoni. I'm on Instagram, Adri_Gavazzoni. I'm on LinkedIn, Adriana Gavazzoni. I'm everywhere, I think. And my books are on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. I have my site where I give tips about writing. It's agavazzoni.com. And there you can find also my books, links for my books, for my interviews, previous interviews. This one is going to be there in some days. So I'm everywhere. I answer my emails, Adriana@adrianagavazzoni.com. I always answer my readers. So if you want to find me, just go ahead. I'm going to find.
Yeah, she's lovely, approachable, and just such an interesting combination of woman, I would say. So I want to thank you so much for being here with us today. It has just been an honor, and
Thank you, Marilyn, for the opportunity. The honor was mine.
Thank you so much, honey. I appreciate it, and we'll look forward to having you back again when you have your next book. And for all of you out there, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you join us today. We're here each and every Monday at 1:00 Eastern Time. And each week we have something interesting, someone doing fabulous things that we all can learn from and grow from and own who we are. I'm not any closing remarks. So everyone have a wonderful day. Mwah! Thank you.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.